play the game at the minor league level. He said guys like Hub Kittle and a number of other veterans who were instructors in the system really knew how to teach the game. So when he got to the major leagues, he was prepared for all situations and very sound fundamentally.
There's the pitch a little bit inside. Ball two. 2 balls, no strikes, 1 out. Want to wish Catherine O'Donnell a happy birthday. I won't say how many. So let's just say 39. The pitch. Fly ball going back. McClendon way back, all the way to the wall. And here goes Tommy Herr on his way to second with a double. They were playing him rather shallow, and McClendon didn't really see the ball right off the bat.
McClendon just misplayed that ball. He froze as it was hit right at him and then realized that the ball was going to go over his head. He doesn't get a great jump on this ball. Now he slows down and completely gets fooled by it and can't come up with it. The ball was hit right on the nose the other way, and the wind is blowing toward the left field corner from the southeast at 14 miles an hour.
1 out, 1 on, and here is John Kruk hitting .299, 2 out of 5 yesterday. 8 homers for the year. There's a high fly ball, ought to be caught. McClendon under it, and he makes the catch. A runner tagging up, trying for third. Save! Whoa, close play. Salazar thought he had him. Kruk flies out, and McClendon almost got her going from second to third after the catch.
Very good throw by Lloyd McClendon. He sets up. I think Herr thought he was going to make it easily. Lloyd takes a couple of steps, and Tommy Herr now realizing he's got to turn it on. It looked like he was out at third base. Looked like he tagged him on the back before the leg, and we'll take a look from a different angle. The tag will come on the back of Herr, and it didn't look like his foot was in there.
I don't know, tough to tell. Close enough to be safe without an argument. 2 out. Here's Ricky Jordan. Strike call. We're going to get a tip-off about this ball game right here. Ricky Jordan rarely has failed to drive in runs against the Cubs so far this year. Whenever they get a couple men on, he drives them in. He had 3 out of 4 yesterday. Let's see what he does today. He swings and he misses a fastball.
Maddox has had success with Jordan doing just that. Going in out of the strike zone and high above his hands. Jordan keeps his hands up, drops them to get him in a hitting position, and still swings at a lot of high pitches. 1 more of those and he's going to get him.
0-2 the count. Ground ball right back to Maddox. He's got it. Over to first. We're out of the inning. 1 hit, 1 left to go on the bottom of the first. No score.
You're looking pretty trim there. You've been on Zim's diet, it looks like.
How about that? Maybe I ought to go on a diet. We go in the bottom of the first. Doug DeCenzo leading it off. Hitting 160. You'll remember the Phillies. He hit his first and only, so far, home run against the Phillies in Philadelphia. Switch hitter. Fastball outside. Terry Mulholland, a 26-year-old left-hander.
His lifetime ERA against the Cubs is 7.45. His ERA this year, 10.80.
There's the pitch a little bit low. 4.61 is earned run average against the league. There's the strike call right in there.
Mulholland has a fair curveball. He's really a fastball pitcher. There you look at his numbers. Given up many more hits per innings pitched. 6'3", 200 pounds.
There's a drive way back. It's going to be caught near the ivy, and he has it. DeCenzo sent Kruk back to the ivy for his long drive. 1 out, Well, one thing we know, the ball really carries towards left field today.
Mulholland has given up 7 home runs this year, and this is almost number 8. He gets a fastball down to DeCenzo after falling behind 2-1, and Doug gave it a long ride, but not quite far enough.
Here's Sandberg. Boy, even in a losing cause, he had a great game yesterday. 4 out of 6. He drove in the run the bottom of the 9th. He gave the Cubs a shot. There's a high pop foul out of play.
Mulholland was a #1 draft choice of the San Francisco Giants back in 1984. He was the 24th player chosen overall. Came in with high hopes. Spent parts of 3 seasons with the Giants.
There's the pitch low. 1 ball, 1 strike. Jim and Carmen Calentus wishing Michael Chris a quick recovery. 15-year-old youngster at a Loyola Hospital. Two balls and a strike. Pitch outside, ball 3. Mark Graves will hit the ball sharply right at the shortstop with a tying and winning runs on base. Only to have it turned into a double play will be next. Ball 4. Sandberg walk. So that's the first base runner off Mulholland. Terry Mulholland. Big left-hander. 1 man out.
Rhino hasn't been aggressive on the base paths this year with 14 stolen bases and 19 attempts. We might just see a hit and run situation, thinking that Grace is going to make some contact.
There's a fly ball in the short left field, caught by Kruk. Graves flies to Kruk in short left. Going after the first pitch, 2 out. Here's Andre Dawson. Andre's showing some signs of snapping out of his slump. He's had a couple of hits yesterday and 3 runs batted in, and he had 2 hits a day before that. First time in quite a while. He had multiple hits in a row.
Terry Mulholland came over from San Francisco along with Dennis Cook and Charlie Hayes in exchange for Steve Bedrosian.
Quick throw back.
Mulholland spent some time at Phoenix this year. Really didn't do it with the Giants early in the year. Was 4-5 at AAA with a 2.99 ERA. Had no record with San Francisco.
Again the throw. Rhino back. Runner at first, 2 men out. Dawson. 9 out of 43 against the Philadelphia pitching. There's a strike call. That's not much of an average, but he has hit 2 home runs off of them. A total of 18 homers for the year, 71 RBIs, hitting .247. Fastball outside.
In the last 4 starts for Terry Mulholland, the Phillies have lost them all, and he's failed to get through the 6th inning in any of them.
Fouls it back. Boy, and more, it looks like the pivotal team in this race to the wire is going to be the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Cubs have 3 games against them here over the weekend, starting tomorrow. The Mets still have to play them. The Cardinals still have to play them. Here's a pitch inside. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
The Cardinals will play them 3 games in Pittsburgh when the Cubs are in Montreal, and Pittsburgh has been a red-hot team.
As a matter of fact, to be honest about it, if you had to judge on the last 2 weeks, They play better than any one of the contenders. There's a drive foul. Line drive hit hard. Foul into the corner. The Pirates won 2 out of 3 from the Mets. They won 3 straight from the Cardinals. Won 2 out of 3 from the Cubs in Pittsburgh. And they'll come in for a 3-game series starting tomorrow afternoon. 2 balls, 2 strikes. He struck him out and made him look bad. At the end of 1, no score. Harry Carey back at Wrigley Field. Here's Von Hayes. Boy, is that his brother? Is that Don Zimmer's brother? He looks just like him. He really does. 1 ball, no strikes. The pitch, a little bit inside.
Von Hayes second in the National League in walks. He's got 99, so he's a patient hitter, and he's had a 3-homer game on August 29th and 5 2-homer games this year.
2 balls, no strikes. The base hit. Hayes singles to left. Boy, I tell you, I was going to say, if I were Rick Sutcliffe, I'd go right out and try to talk to Cubs and even contribute some money to trying to buy the contract of Von Hayes. He's hit over 500 during his career against Sutcliffe, and he really beat him yesterday, even though he wasn't a pitcher of record. And it isn't only Sutcliffe. He seems to hit all the Cub pitchers as well as everybody else, but his season's average is only 261. Here's Dickie Thon, the shortstop.
Hayes has stolen 28 bases this year, been caught 7 times, and Nick Leyva showed yesterday he's going to be aggressive.
Now ready? There's a line drive in the right field. It's a base hit. There's a throw in a second, trying for a force out. But the throw gets by Dunston. Hayes had a hold. He didn't know whether that ball would be caught or not. 2 hits in a row.
It's an amazing number when you consider the Philadelphia Phillies are hitting .244. That puts them 8th in the National League. But in this ballpark, this Philly team is hitting .322. And there's nobody who can go to the mound that can hold this team down for long. They continue to find the holes, don't hit the ball hard all the time, but just get an enormous amount of base hits.
Now here's Charlie Hayes, the third baseman. The Cubs have announced the ticket lottery plans for the playoff and World Series tickets, and I'll go through it so everybody will be informed a little bit in a moment. Runners at first and second, nobody out. Curveball outside, ball 1. Hayes, the runner at second. Thon at first. Dickie Thon with 13 homers as the shortstop. Only Granny Hamner of the Philadelphia Whiz Kids had more homers as a shortstop in the Phillies' history. He swings and he misses. Now, he made him look bad on a breaking ball. There might have been a little bit change of speed. Now, let's see if he'll throw him another one or whether he'll go to a fastball. It seems like Cub pitchers love to throw their fastball, and that's what seems to get hit. 1-1 pitch. A bouncing ball. Looks like a double play. It is a double play. 1-6-3 if you're scoring. And Charlie Hayes hitting to a double play.
6th time this year that Hayes is grounded into a double play, and Maddox jams him with the fastball. Dunston comes across, makes the play easily. And the Cubs, with a couple of outs, to at least to this point, get Maddox out of the jam.
Here now is Darren Daulton, 5 out of 5 yesterday afternoon.
Now you got a weak hitting pitcher due up next. You can't give in to Dalton. Take your chances with Mulholland if you can't get this guy out.
There's the pitch a little bit high and inside. They'd like to get Dalton out here so the pitcher will lead off the third, which is tantamount to starting the inning with 1 out. But you got to get Dalton. There's a strike call. 1 ball, 1 strike. The runner at third is Von Hayes. 1 ball, 1 strike. Inside, ball 2. The ticket lottery will be held tomorrow. The pitch, a little bit inside. 3 balls and a strike. It'll be held tomorrow evening between 6 p.m. to 12 midnight. And also Saturday from 7 in the morning until all the tickets have been sold. 3-1 pitch. He walked him. And so that will bring up Terry Mulholland, who's had 2 hits this year and 35 times at bat.
Got his first career RBI and only RBI of the year against Kevin Gross. But he's not much of a hitter. So let's see if the strategy pays off. He didn't throw the ball close to Dalton. Wise pitching decision for Greg Maddux, who doesn't want to fall behind early. Don Zimmer said he's going to be very patient with Maddux. He'd love to get 9 innings out of him today and keep out of that bullpen. It's been used quite a bit lately.
Runners at first and third. Terry Mulholland, the infield shallow. Or rather, the outfield shallow, too. There's a strike call. Dawson playing a very short right field, as is DeCenzo in center, and McGlendon in left. 0-1 the count. Fakes towards third, turns as if to make a play at first.
He's got to know that Grace is behind Dalton, and Grace wasn't breaking to the bag. Little Rick Sutcliffe rubbing off on Greg Maddux.
0-1 the count. Ground ball. Grace has it. Maddux covered to retire the side. 2 hits, 2 men left. We go in the bottom of the second, no score. Harry Carey and Steve Stone at Wrigley Field as we go into the bottom of the second. No score. Here is Lloyd McClendon to lead it off. The Cubs have approximately 12,000 tickets available to the general public for each playoff and World Series game. There's a line single to right. McClendon on the first pitch, singles to right. That brings up Luis Salazar, who's really on a hitting rampage. 4 out of 5 yesterday. Salazar, as a member of the Cubs, has hit .392 with 1 homer and 11 RBI in only 17 games. Runner at first.
Mulholland throws a lot of high fastballs, and Salazar's a high fastball hitter.
The delivery. He sharpened up as if to bunt. Slider for a strike.
He's got some pop, and Lenny Dykstra is playing him fairly shallow in center field. Surprisingly, they're giving him left center, not thinking that he can pull Mulholland.
Swings, and he missed the curve. Breaking in and down. 0-2 the count.
David Patterson and Dennis Fergus have driven up from Nashville, Tennessee to see this ball game.
Now the pitch. inside.
Dalton has only thrown out 29% of the runners who have tried to steal against him, but Mulholland gets rid of the ball quickly, and he's got a pretty good move to first. Something you have to adjust to in the National League to hold base runners close.
He struck him out swinging. Second strikeout for Mulholland. That brings up Dunston, who's run that Shauna meter up to 279 with 9 homers, 60 RBI. There it is. Shawn-O-meter. Dunston, 6 out of 61 against the Philadelphia pitching. Make that 16 out of 61 with a home run included. One out, one on. And Jose Martinez, the first base coach, talking things over with Lloyd McClendon, wanting to make sure he knows what's going to be called for.
Tommy Herr very good around second base on the pivot, but he has limited range at second base, as does Thon at shortstop.
Throw to first, runner back. After today, the Cubs play 3 at home against Pittsburgh, 3 at Montreal, and 3 at St. Louis next week to end the season. Nice save in there by Darren Dalton of the pitch in the dirt. The Mets, after they play a game in St. Louis tonight, played 3 at home against Montreal and 3 against the Phillies, and they end their season 3 at Pittsburgh. The Cardinals play 1 against New York at home tonight. Have a 3-game series at Philadelphia starting tomorrow. Pitch low again. Ball 2. They play 3 at Pittsburgh while the Cubs are playing in Montreal. And then end the season against the Cubs, the final 3 games of the year. Boy, that's the time to be going into St. Louis with a 4-game lead.
It would be nice to have the luxury to arrange your pitching staff how you'd like to have them for the playoffs, but the Cubs will have to do a little winning before that can happen. Phillies have thrown 85 wild pitches as a team, Mulholland with 3 of them. 85 is a high total.
Here's ball 3. Boy, he sure got Darren Dalton jumping all over the place. He's got a good slider that breaks into the dirt. 3-0. Here are the numbers that the tickets can be purchased with the lottery starting tomorrow through these numbers by calling 312-559-1212 in Illinois. The other numbers if you're out of town, 1-800-548-4000. And good luck on the ticket lottery starting tomorrow. Fans have the opportunity to purchase 4 tickets for one of the 7 possible postseason games. Don't call other Ticketmaster locations. Those calls will not be processed. The only tickets you should make a note of, 312-559-1212 in Illinois, or 1-800-548-4000 if you're from out of town.
Philadelphia Phillies playing this like a World Series game. They've got the bullpen up and going with a runner at first base.
Here's ball 4. That's a second pass given up by Mulholland. And here comes Rick Rona. Rona had 1 out of 4 yesterday, hitting .239, 1 home run.
Randy O'Neal, who pitched 2/3 of an inning yesterday, gave up 3 hits and 3 runs, warming up early in this one. So Darrell Knowles and Nick Leyva don't like what they've seen from Terry Mulholland so far.
The pitch to Rona. Swung and he missed. Had a good cut. 1 strike and nothing. Runners at first and second. Foul tipped it. 0-2. All right, Rick, think about hitting to the opposite field. He's been pulling on the first 2 pitches. They were probably inside, and that was why. 0-2 the count.
Hayes has a decent arm in right field, although not too good. The arms in left and center, Kruk and Dykstra, not very good at all, and the Cubs will try to take advantage of that.
The pitch. High ball outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Oh, I tell you. Toronto's lead over the Baltimore Orioles, only 1 after last night. California only trails Oakland by 2.5. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Fouled it back, had a good cut. And San Diego hanging tough. There's the American League standings. Kansas City now 4.5 out in the West. Giants held to their 5-game lead over San Diego with that comeback victory after San Diego had already won their ball game.
San Diego's won 23 of their last 29, and they're still looking up at a 5-game deficit. So San Francisco doing what they've got to do.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Ground ball. Foul down the third baseline. The magic number for the Giants is 6. The magic number for the Cubs is 8.
Well, Holland's not known as a strikeout pitcher. He's averaged just a little over 4 strikeouts per 9 innings. So odds are he's not going to throw too many by you, but he's got a pretty good fastball today. What you have to do with him is a lot what you have to do with Sid Fernandez. Lay off the high fastball. It's tough to catch up to. But sometimes that's easier said than done. Odds are he'll go back up there again and try to throw it by Rona.
A ball, 2 strikes. Mulholland wants to talk to his catcher. I don't know. I guess all pitchers have that little bit of arrogance. They call the catcher out to talk to them on the mound rather than walk in and talk and meet them halfway.
Well, they know that
you pitchers always were that way, weren't you?
Well, they know the hitters are a little farther away from them if they have the catcher come out to them. They certainly don't want to have the hitter hear what they have to say. Although sometimes it doesn't make any difference.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Runners first and second. Mulholland's pitch. Ground ball headed for left, a base hit. Here's a runner scoring. The Cubs are in the lead. The throw to third. Safe and on the hit. Rona goes down to second on the play at third. Rick Rona came through and put the Cubs ahead 1-0.
Rona broke his bat on an inside fastball and drove in run number 10. And then some heads-up base running by Sean Dunston. He forced Kruk to try to cut him down at third base. That allowed Rona to get out of the double play and move into second. Kruk doesn't have much of an arm. The Cubs know that. They will run on him at every opportunity. And Dunston's great speed gets him in at third, moves the trailer to second, and the Cubs in business here in the second.
And now here's Mannix. 15 hits and 74 tries. Infield in. Swings, misses it by a foot. Maybe he missed that pitch that badly intentionally to decoy him.
He's a pretty good bunter, a good handler of the bat. Maddox with 8 sacrifices. And Jordan does not throw the ball particularly well, and Hayes is back at third, surprisingly.
Now the pitch. Swung, and he missed. Low outside pitch. And he's in the hole 0-2. Doug DeCenzo would be next. Time is called. Let's see now. You know, Don Zimmer does the unexpected so often. He might have him bunt here. Hoping he's got a very fast man at third. He struck him out on a terrible pitch. Maddox struck out. That's a third strikeout for Mulholland. Here's DeCenzo. Hit the ball deep but out his first time up. You can't beat fun at the old ballpark, friends. And what a big weekend series. The Pirates tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday. There's a strike call on DeCenzo. The last 3 home games. Discounting the playoff games. Bouncing ball, that'll be easy. That retires the side as Herr threw out DeCenzo. But 1 run on 2 hits and a walk, 2 left. At the end of 2, the Cubs lead 1-0.
The '89 Cubs are brought to you in part by Pepsi-Cola General Bottlers of Chicago. Pepsi, a generation ahead.
Harry Carey back at Wrigley Field. The first pitch is a curveball a little bit outside to Lenny Dykstra, leading it off. 1-0 Cubs.
You have to always watch the bunt with Dykstra, although he doesn't do it often.
There's a pitch outside. Boy, I was really amazed that, as a matter of fact, as I said, I thought Greg Maddux really missed the first pitch to sort of as a decoy. There's a pitch foul out of play. I thought sure he'd come back on one of the next pitches and lay a bunt down with a fleet-footed Dunston at third base.
I think that's something that Doug DeCenzo has to look at also, Harry. He doesn't, but the right side was back. You have a left-hander on the mound who falls off to the third base side. The play was open, but nothing was forthcoming.
Here's another foul into the stands on the third base side.
Dykstra has not had the kind of the year the Phillies thought he would have. However, Roger McDowell has been one of the pluses in the trade that sent Juan Samuel to the Mets. McDowell has taken over as the stopper. Dykstra has been struggling, as has Samuel.
2 balls, 2 strikes. E.O. he tried to check his swing. Watch Rona to play. He gets him. Rick Rona got out from behind that plate in a hurry. Pounced on that high hopper and threw to first on the run. Watch it again.
Rona might not have the arm of Girardi, but he's got great mechanics behind the plate. He blocks pitches well. Yesterday he was all over the place, saving wild pitch after wild pitch. Shows you pretty good mobility there. Off balance throw, and he gets Dykstra.
What I like about him is his agility. And he's a resilient type of fella. Bounces all over the place. There's a ground ball. Herr will be an easy out. Maddox covered. 2 away. And that will bring up John Kruk, the left fielder. We're in the third, 1-0 in favor of the Cubs.
That's more like it with Tommy Herr. Yesterday, the Cubs fell behind him all day long, and he was on base 5 times with 3 hits. He doubled the first time up in the first inning after Maddox fell behind. This time, he got the breaking ball over, retired him on 1 pitch.
John Kruk with 8 homers to his credit. Stockily built. The pitch. Curveball, a little bit inside, ball 1.
John said he loves to hit in this park. Something about Wrigley Field brings out the best in him, and it brings out the best in the rest of his Philly teammates.
There's the pitch a little low. 2 balls, no strikes.
Bobby Dernier looking on. Since the addition of John Kruk, he hasn't had a whole lot of playing time.
Bobby Dernier, who with Ryan Sandberg was the original daily double for the Cubs back in 1984. Boy, they were on base together all the time, setting the table for the hitters behind them.
If you want to throw fastballs to Kruk, you should throw them in. He'll pull the breaking ball, but the fastball, he goes the other way.
He had a good cut. 2 balls, 2 strikes. You know, you can tell the good hitters from the weak ones. The good hitters have the stroke. They swing the bat well. And Kruk is a good hitter. There's a drive. Left center field on the run. DeCenzo makes the catch. 1, 2, 3. We go in the bottom of the third, 1-0 Cubs. Harry Carey back at Wrigley Field. 1-0 Cubs. Boy, Arnie, Rich Melman and Gino East sent up some of their great pizza. And there you are down in the truck. We'd like to send some to you, but we don't have anybody up here who can take it down there. Now the pitch to Sandberg. Fouled out of play.
See, we know, Arnie, that the pizza would get cold by the time we set it down. So Harry figures he'll take advantage of it.
Boy, that's good. Tough luck, Arnie. Bouncing ball. Easy play. Tommy Herr had him played perfectly. 1 out, here's Grace.
The key against the Phillies is to get into middle relief as quickly as you can. Their middle relievers have been a little suspect, although Jeff Parrott and Roger McDowell in late inning relief have been very good. So the Cubs do not want to leave the game on the line till the late innings and see those 2 guys.
There's a pitch foul as Grace tried to bunt his way on. Mark flied out to left his first time up.
He's playing with a taped ankle today. Tripped on the infield yesterday, fell flat on his face, and it's a little tender.
There's a pitch outside. He's 18 out of 67 in his hitting against the Phillies. 2 balls and the strike. One out, nobody on. There's a high pop fly. Kruk chasing, gets in the stand. Grace hitting .269 for the year against the Phillies.
Phillies know they've got some rebuilding to do. They were very active in the winter with Lee Thomas as a general manager. They intend to be just as active this winter. They need some help behind the plate.
He threw his bat at the ball. Thon throws him out. Grace rolls out to Thon. 2 gone. Here's Dawson. Looks like the Phillies are keeping Grace hitting the ball to the left field side by pitching him outside. 2 out. Here's Andre Dawson. Fanned in the first. He swings and he fouls it back. Dwayne will be along after this inning. 1-0, the Cubs lead. There's a hit. Dawson singles to right. And that brings up Lloyd McClendon, who has scored the only run of the ball game. He singled to open the second.
Unlike yesterday, when through 3, there was 8 runs scored and 16 hits combined with these 2 teams. A little quieter here this afternoon in the early going. Mulholland keeping most everything away from the hitters, and they're going to have to take everything to right field.
Swung and he missed. A slider breaking in on him. 1 strike and nothing.
Lloyd has been consistent all year long with a batting average of .342 against the left-handers coming in. He's got a pretty good idea. Does not swing at too many bad pitches.
Runner back. I see Tony Gwynn and Will Clark of the Giants tied for the league lead in hitting. There's a ground ball. Hayes boots it for an error. Hayes charged the ball. He fumbled it on the short hop.
22nd error of the year for Charlie Hayes, who needs a lot of work at third. Dennis Menke, the hitting instructor, was a former third baseman, and he said he's got to work on his footwork. He's had some problems down there. 22, a high number, considering the fact he's only been here half a season.
I thought he did pretty good footwork. He kicked the ball very well. Runners at first and second. 2 out. Luis Salazar fanned his first time. A little bit low and inside. Salazar invariably takes the first pitch. Like a habit to see what's on the ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 2 on, 2 out. There's the strike call. Salazar hitting .290 for the year. Big 11 on the back of his uniform. 1 ball, 1 strike. Curve over the outside corner. Mulholland is pitching all hitters away.
Looks like he's intent on having Luis hit a curveball if he's going to hit anything. And if he throws one down, we might see one go to the screen.
A little tap. He might beat it out. There's the peg. Out on a close play. Out by a fraction. Harry Carey from Wrigley Field at the end of 3. The Cubs lead 1-0.
From Wrigley Field, we move into the 4th inning with Steve Stone and our producer-director, Artie Harris. This is Dwayne Stats. Well, in contrast to yesterday's game, we've got another close one, but low scoring, 1-0 here as we open the 4th. Ricky Jordan's going to lead it off, and the first pitch is in there for a strike.
This club has given Greg Maddux so many problems in the past. His ERA lifetime .580, but at least to this point, he's holding them down.
Middle part of the order. Jordan, Hayes, and Thon. Jordan bounces this one for Sandberg. He's got it. 1 gone. Sandberg to Grace.
Ryan Sandberg is chasing Manny Trio's all-time record at second base for errorless games, and he'll have 10 games to do it and wind up right at the 90 mark if he completes this season errorlessly. Manny Trio with 89 consecutive games without an error at second base for Philadelphia back in 1982. So it's within the grasp of Sandberg.
Von Hayes is the hitter for the Phillies. Hayes singled in the 2nd inning. He had a big day yesterday, including his 24th home run of the year. The pitch is a strike call. The Phillies have had some big days against the Cubs. 18 hits yesterday. Twice before in games this year, the Phillies had come up with 17 hits against the Cubs. The count now 1-1. And one of those came in a game started by Greg Maddux. Maddux has either had feast or famine when he has pitched against the Phillies. The count is now 2 balls and a strike. Greg this year against the Phillies 2-2, has lost to them 12-4 and 9-1. Good pitch there, and the count evens. And he's beaten them 2-0 and 9-2. Last time out was that 17 hit attack by the Phillies when Maddux suffered the loss, working 4 1/3 innings, allowing 7 runs and 12 hits. And is out on strikes. A pitch that got him at the knees on the inside corner. First strikeout for Maddox.
Most unusual at bat for Von Hayes. First he swings at a bad 2-1 fastball, then he takes a 2-2 fastball right down the middle. This man has walked 99 times, which is second in the league. He's got a great eye. He thought that one was down, but Bob Engel thought it was good enough.
Here's Dickie Thon. A roller for Sandberg. And that retires the side. An easy inning for Maddox. We'll go into the bottom of the fourth. Cubs 1, Phillies nothing. Cubs are on top 1-0. We're moving into the bottom of the fourth, and Sean Dunston leads off. Drives it into center. Dykstra takes it for the out. One pitch, one out. Terry Mulholland, 26-year-old left-hander. He's pitching with a bad left knee. He has torn cartilage in that knee and will have arthroscopic surgery when the season is over. Steve, that has to be a very fine line for the Phillies to allow him to pitch and hope that he doesn't alter his mechanics to the point where it could adversely affect his arm or shoulder.
Baseball history is cluttered with pitchers with leg problems that turn around and hurt their arms. The Cubs had Rick Sutcliffe in '85 that had a hamstring problem, tried to come back from it and hurt his shoulder.
This is Rick Rona taking a ball.
But I'm sure they've talked it over with Darryl Knowles, and they figure that as long as he keeps throwing the ball straight over the top, he's going to be okay. He hasn't had a whole lot of arm problems, although he was on the disabled list once in his career. That was with a broken wrist.
A base hit for Rona. He is 2 for 2. Dykstra returns the ball to the infield. Rona up to 260 with a couple hits today. He drove in the Cub run in the second inning. Lines a single into center here in the fourth, and now Maddox will be up there. Maddox did not have a very good at bat in the second inning. Generally, he will battle you up there, but Mulholland kept the pitch down and away, and Maddox chased it 3 times.
If there's a choice in this infield, you want Ricky Jordan to throw the ball. He does not throw the ball well. He's had some problems, so Maddox will try to bunt it at him.
He's a good bunter and takes the pitch for a strike. 8 sacrifices on the year for Maddox.
Maddox can really help himself here by getting the job done. Jordan, suspect footwork at first base. He had a hard time shifting and getting a throw to second.
Maddox bunts it foul. 2 strikes. Matter of fact, Greg is perfect this year in sacrifice situations. 8 out of 8. Down on the count this time.
I would think they'd try to bunt with him one more time. Jose Martinez meeting with Rick Rona, talking to him about the move of Mulholland, which is a good one.
And there's the bunt, rolling up the first base side, and it goes foul. Phillies elected to allow it to roll, and Maddox is out on strikes. So this is the first time this year that Maddox has been unsuccessful at advancing the runner. 2 gone with Rona still at first for the top of the batting order, Doug DeCenzo. DeCenzo is nothing out of 2, including a fly ball to the warning track and left in the first inning.
You don't want to see Doug DeCenzo hitting too many fly balls. He doesn't have a whole lot of pop, and if your best bolt generally goes to the warning track, you do yourself a disservice. He's got to keep the ball on the ground.
I think that's something that he is well aware of, especially after going back to Iowa this year. There's a strike. That point and the idea that he should walk a little more and maybe bunt was stressed to him, and he went back to Iowa and did that. The pitch is upstairs, and Steve, if he continues to do that, here's a fella who could certainly play in the major leagues. There's no question about his defensive work.
You liken him to John Cangelosi, a man who can do a lot of things defensively. Doug is an excellent center fielder and has played very well in every opportunity he's had this year. Nobody questions that. But he's got to learn to be much more effective with the bunt. And more times than not, Dwayne, I don't know if he looks for it, because you have to look at the men at the corners every time you come up and see if it's open.
Ground ball. A foul ball is the call by Fred Brocklander. And boy, that was about as close as you can get without the ball being fair. DeCenzo just missing an extra base hit. Let's take another look at this one. Brocklander right on top the call.
Slider low and in. Charlie Hayes well off the line. He's got no chance. And it's just foul.
So the count's a ball and 2 strikes. DeCenzo, the hitter, with Rona the runner. Rick at first base. This one for Charlie Hayes. He got down on the ball. The throw to first. Safe at first. Now a man's going to third, and the throw is loose there. Some heads-up base running by Rick Rona. He never gave up on the ground ball. DeCenzo safe at first, and Rona advances to third. And that's one thing the Cubs have continued to do, is be very alert on the bases.
Rick Rona made this play by hustling to second base. That's where the play was made, because Charlie Hayes came up and thought about second the first instant. That allowed DeCenzo hustling on the play to get in easily at first, and Rona heads to third. So the hustle by Rona on what seemingly was an easy out sets up the play that keeps the Cubs in the middle of this inning. And watch the hesitation by Charlie Hayes. He looks at second. He's got no play there. Now he goes to first. The throw is down. DeCenzo beats it.
An infield hit for Doug DeCenzo. So the Cubs have 5 hits. Men at first and third, and it gets Ryan Sandberg to the plate with men on. Sandberg walked in the first and bounced to second in the third inning. And Mulholland throws him a strike. Sandberg, 5th in the league with 30 home runs. And since the Cubs trailed the Montreal Expos, Sandberg has been red hot. There's a base hit into left. He drives in another run. It's 2-0 Cubs. Sandberg driving in his 73rd run of the year. Rona scores from third, and DeCenzo stops at second. Here it is.
During the course of this streak, if you make a mistake to Ryan Sandberg, he makes you pay the price. Like most hitters, you make great pitches, you get him out. But as soon as you get one up in the strike zone, he hits it right on the button, as he did right there. And now we have a Rhino meter. Let's watch the swing. The fastball is up, and Rhino stays right on it and drives it hard to left.
Here's Mark Grace. Grace takes a strike on the outside corner. Since the end of July, when the Cubs trailed Montreal by 3.5 games, Sandberg has hit better than .340 with 18 home runs during that stretch. Base hit to center for Grace. Here comes DeCenzo in to score. It's 3-0 Cubs. Mark Grace follows suit with a base hit up the middle. So the Cubs, taking advantage of the infield hit by DeCenzo, turn it into 2 runs.
And you can credit just flat-out hustle this inning with getting the Cubs the run. Hustle by Doug DeCenzo and hustle by Rick Rona. And that set up the inning. And Mark Grace says to Sandberg, I'm not going to let you have the team lead in RBIs. I'm going to just jump right back at you with 73.
Both Sandberg and Grace with 73 runs batted in now. And here is Andre Dawson. Dawson singled in the third. He is 1 for 2. So a 2-run fourth for the Cubs. Mulholland. There's a shot deep to left, way back. Kiss it goodbye. It's a fair ball and a home run for Andre Dawson. It's across the street, and the scramble is on. A 3-run blast for Andre Dawson. What a shot. That's his 19th home run, and he comes up with it across the street on Waveland Avenue.
And it looked like the mailman got it. Andre Dawson delivering the mail, and the mailman getting the baseball.
It's a 5-run inning, and the Cubs lead 6-0. Boy, he's happy. He put it away in the mail truck, and you better not mess with the U.S. mail.
And now he's taking the bow. They're not going to throw that one back. The mail must go through.
On their feet here as Andre Dawson has belted his 19th home run. That's the 8th given up by Mulholland. All of this after the infield hit. Now here's McClendon. And the pitch is high. Ball 1. Andre finally acknowledging the crowd. 74 runs batted in. That RBI race is really heating up now. Sandberg and Grace with 73 apiece, and Dawson with that 3-run homer has 74. The count to McClendon is 1-1.
I asked Lloyd McClendon about pressure in the pennant race, and he said they're playing hard every day as you look at a very happy mailman.
The pitch, ball 2, 2-1.
I guess that was airmail when Arnie froze that shot.
I'll tell you.
He battled for it. He deserved that one.
Dawson airmailed it, that's for sure. McClendon fouls it out of play, and the count is 2-2.
Let's watch it again as Andre Dawson gets a slider low and in and doesn't let it get in too far as he drives it right down the line, and the Chicago Tribune round tripper replay shows the home run went about 410 to left field.
Ground ball to third. Hayes up, and the throw to first in time. $300 to Cubs Care in the name of True Value Hardware on the home run by Dawson. That caps a 5-run inning, and at the end of 4, the Cubs are out in front 6-0.
Cubs baseball is brought to you in part by United Airlines, rededicated to giving you the service you deserve. Come fly the friendly skies.
Charlie Hayes has fouled the first pitch away. The 5th inning is underway. 1 strike to count. Greg Maddux pitching to the Philly third baseman. And the count is now 1 ball, 1 strike. Hayes, Dalton, and then Mulholland do. Randy O'Neal continues to throw in the Phillies bullpen. A bouncer, foul, and the count goes to a ball and 2 strikes. Well, the Cubs had scored a run in the 2nd inning. Rick Rona on that bouncing ball to third by DeCinzo never gave up, and neither did DeCinzo for that matter, and that kept the inning going, giving the Cubs a chance to have a big inning, and a big inning they had. Dunston to Grace as Sandberg, Grace, and Dawson all came through in the bottom of the 4th. Let's take another look at the scramble for Dawson's home run. You see it's out of the park and across the street. A mad dash.
Looks like a soccer game.
Australians rule football right here.
And the mailman comes up with it and then goes high in the air. The thrill of victory.
Dalton bounces it for Grace to Maddux. 2 outs in the 5th.
And how about retiring Darren Dalton? You know it's got to be the Cubs' day when that happens. And Maddux getting a lot of mileage out of the inside fastball today. He's jammed most of these Philly hitters. They've been hitting the ball right off their thumbs through the first 5.
Now we'll have we have the mailman in custody, right?
Andy Warhol said everybody's going to be famous for 15 seconds, and the mailman's going to get his chance. He's going to come up to the booth.
Keith Miller will pinch hit for Mulholland. So Miller will hit with the bases empty and 2 gone.
Miller 1 for 4 as a pinch hitter this year. 286 overall. No relation to the Keith Miller who plays for the New York Mets.
Bases empty on a couple ground balls, 2 outs. And the pitch is a ball. So Mulholland works 4 innings, gives the Cubs 6 runs, 8 hits. There's a strike. 1-1 to count. Send our best to Walter Hudson in Atlanta, Georgia, rooting for the Cubs. There's a strike. The count is now 1 ball, 2 strikes.
6 runs, they were earned, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, 1 home run.
Miller takes one down. So that evens the count at 2 balls, 2 strikes. Boy, there have been a ton of home runs hit in the season series between these two clubs. That home run by Dawson, the 18th the Cubs have hit against the Phillies. There's a foul ball, and the Phillies have hit 21 home runs off Cubs pitching this year. This is the final game of the series. Cubs right now holding a 9-8 advantage in the season series.
Maddox sailing right along, has retired 9 straight as you look at the man of the moment, Andre Dawson.
2-2 the count. And Miller is out on strikes. Second strikeout for Maddox. A perfect inning. That's 10 in a row retired by Maddox. Bottom of the 5th coming, 6-0 Cubs. Bottom of the 5th inning coming. Cubs are leading 6-0. Keep the dream alive. And Luis Salazar will be the first Cub to face Randy O'Neal this afternoon. O'Neal following Terry Mulholland.
O'Neal, a forkballer, didn't fare very well yesterday.
And the pitch is low for a ball.
He pitched just 2/3 of an inning, gave up 3 runs on 3 hits in relief of Pat Combs. And Dwayne, the postman, always rings twice. This is the second time.
A bouncing ball to second. Her over to Jordan. And Salazar is out 4-3. 1 gone here. Neil White. Neil, congratulations, buddy.
Thank you, thank you.
Nice going. I'll tell you, you got some vertical leap. I'll tell you that.
I've been practicing for a long time.
Did you come out of the pile all right?
Yeah, pretty well.
Here's Dunston taking the first pitch for a strike. Where were you when Dawson hit the ball?
Well, I had just pulled up to talk to my friend, and I told him, he said, "What you doing over here?" I said, "I get out to get a home run," and the ball come flying over the fence.
There's a ground ball up the middle. Herr can't get there. Base hit. Big turn by Dunston. So Sean picks up his first hit of the day. So you had a premonition that something like that might happen.
Yeah, I had a funny feeling.
All right. Your name is Neil White, right?
Yes.
All right. Boy, I'll tell you, you might be our favorite postman from now to the end of the season. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'd like to say hello to my mother-in-law, my wife, and my kids. And thank you, Andre.
All right. Neil White's alive and well and catching home runs on Waveland Avenue. Nice going.
And what are you going to do for your next job when they find out you've taken this much time off?
I'm on lunch.
He's on lunch. Here's Rick Rona. And a foul ball. Strike 1. Neil White, the home run catching postman.
Well, I can just see it now. Neil and Mike Ditka doing a string of commercials for somebody.
1 on, 1 out. Cubs have 9 hits. They've out-hit the Phillies 9-3. He missed the fork ball there. 2 strikes to count. I'll tell you, we received a note from Joe Warren in Oakland, Illinois, who came up with a copy of the Chicago Examiner of 1910. Same date, September 21st, same date as today. The Cubs of that year needed 8 more victories to clinch the flag. The pitch is a ball, so the count is 1-2. The Cubs' magic number right now is 8 as we play on September the 21st. There's a story in the paper. The Cubs are tightening their hold on the 1910 pennant, and in possibly a week's time will have clinched the flag. A bouncer foul with 22 games. 22 games to be played there on September the 21st. Chances coming champions need but 8 more triumphs. They were battling the Giants at the time.
See, the weather pattern was different then. You could play into November without a big problem in those days. 22 games left in a 154-game schedule on September 21st.
And they went on to win 104 games. They won the pennant by 13 games in 1910. A bouncer right side. Her will take it to second out there, and Font holds it for the force. That's the only one they get. So Rona reaches on a fielder's choice. He's there with 2 outs for the pitcher, Greg Maddux. They finished 104 and 50, 13 games in front in 1910. Arnie wants me to do it.
Go ahead.
It's really your territory.
No, give it to him.
But watching the Cubs these days is becoming a habit.
And even in those days.
Maddux fouls it out of play. Strike 1. By the way, I'm receiving more ammunition in the mail in defense of your humor.
Did Neil White bring up some on his way up here?
I got a letter the other day. They drew freehand a very nice little fire hydrant for us to take on the road when we don't have any lake shots. Bouncing ball, base hit to center. So Maddux is aboard. Rona stops at second, and the Cubs move into double figures with 10 hits.
Greg Maddux now at 208. Had a tough couple of at-bats.
That's right. There's the fire hydrant. We have a little artwork, so when we go on the road this next week, in case you attempt to be funny, I'm going to carry that with me.
Okay. It'll be a lot funnier if they win at least 2 out of 3 from Pittsburgh and see the Cardinals lose a couple.
We'll all have a party. Doug DeCenzo. DeCenzo, 1 of 3. An infield hit in the 4th inning, and boy, that turned out to be a key hit to keep the inning alive. A ball, no strikes. Dawson has now hit 4 home runs against the Phillies, 2 off Carmen. His first one of the year against the Phillies came off Floyd Yeomans. He got Mulholland today. The count goes to a ball and a strike.
Ron Maurice of Pittman Motors on hand today, as is Bob Foley of Foley Motor Sales and Steve Napleton of Northwestern Buick.
1-1 to count. O'Neill in relief of Mulholland. Too close. It's now 2-1. DeCenzo playing center field in the absence of Walton, who has been day-to-day with that tight hamstring. He fouls this one out of play. And the count is 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Cubs on the verge of supplanting St. Louis as the top hitting team in the National League. They're just 1 percentage point behind the Cardinals. St. Louis hitting .259, the Cubs at .258. And with this offensive outburst today, they might just tie him or swing by him.
There's a drive into right center. Rona will score. Maddux goes to third, and the Cubs pick up their 7th run of the game. 7-0 Cubs. 3 hits in the inning off O'Neill, and now a run.
Doug DeCenzo knows that he won't be eligible for the playoffs, but he's got to do everything he can to get this club there. He was invaluable, replacing Jerome Walton when he went on the disabled list with a hamstring problem, catching everything in sight in center field. And now he's adding a pretty good bat these last few days to that.
And here is Ryne Sandberg, who singled home a run in the 4th and then scored on Dawson's home run. The run scored for Sandberg, by the way, was number 100. Ryne has walked, grounded out, and singled home a run. Down the line, foul. Strike 1. The Cubs picked up their first run in the 2nd. Added 5 in the 4th, and now have picked up another run in the 5th. There you see Sandberg, second to Will Clark of the Giants in the run department. Clark 102. Rhino now with 100. One strike to count on Ryne Sandberg.
One of the great races kind of going unnoticed with the pennant race here is the race for the batting title between Tony Gwynn and Will Clark, both of them at 336.
A ball and a strike. O'Neill pitched yesterday, gave up 3 runs in 2/3 of an inning. One of 5 Philly pitchers. The Cubs utilized 6 pitchers. The count's a ball and 2 strikes. Seven nothing. The Cubs have converted the point after touchdown. Two. DeCenzo on first and Maddox, the Cub runner, at third.
Don Zimmer getting exactly what he needs out of Maddox. He said before the game that he was going to be more patient today with Maddox than he's been with any of his pitchers all year. He wanted 9 innings out of him. And so far Maddox has responded with one of his better ball games the last month or two.
Full count on Ryne Sandberg. Well, Grace would be next. Bruce with 2 gone. This will give DeCenzo a chance to break off first. And a liner into left. Another run will score on the base hit. DeCenzo's going to go to third. First and third still. Sandberg drives in his second run of the day. He has 74. It's 8-0 Cubs.
The RBI derby tied again between Sandberg and Dawson. Here's another mistake and another base hit. The split finger fastball up in the eyes of Sandberg. He's not missing any of those.
Well, the Cubs have now converted the 2-point conversion and lead 8-0. Here's Mark Grace. Grace 1 out of 3. Liner into right, another hit. Here comes DeCenzo in to score. Sandberg stops at second. Well, that RBI race really heating up now as Grace drives in his 74th run of the year.
Mark Grace on a high fastball.
Now the Cubs have scored 3 times in the 5th. Andre Dawson will be the hitter, and Darrell Knowles is on his way to the mound. More bullpen action getting set for the Philadelphia Phillies.
McElroy, a rookie, getting up and starting to throw.
Chuck McElroy. We saw him briefly over in Philadelphia. Knowles will take a little time on the mound with O'Neill and Dalton. It's been a tough couple days for O'Neill.
So far in his 2 appearances here, Randy O'Neill's been able to pitch an inning and a third. He's given up 6 runs on 8 hits. Come on, Zim, smile, and I think Zim is smiling.
Let's see if she can prompt one out of Zim.
Put us on TV. He's not smiling because he knows what Jim Rooker knows. This Philadelphia club can come back. They came back from 10-0 against Pittsburgh, and now Rooker has to walk for 2 weeks from Philadelphia to Pittsburgh in a charitable walk, but a 2-week walk nonetheless.
And here's Andre Dawson. Dawson belted a 3-run homer in the 4th. And a big cut and fouled it. Strike 1. Andre in the game yesterday had 2 hits and drove in 3 runs, scored 2 runs. Well, he has 2 hits today with 3 RBIs and a run scored. Cubs leading 9-0. 13 hits for the Cubs. A strike to count on Andre Dawson. One and one. Lloyd McClendon is on deck. Should he get a chance, the Cubs would have batted around in the inning. A tap foul. 1-2.
Cubs will face one of their leading tormentors tomorrow, Doug Drabek. Mike Bilecki drawing the assignment. It's going to be Paul Kilgus on Saturday and Steve Wilson on Sunday.
A ball, 2 strikes. Into the dirt. Wild pitch. Both runners are in scoring position now. O'Neill throws the wild pitch, and the count goes to 2-2.
5th wild pitch of the year and 86th for the Phillies this year. Their catchers have been beaten to death behind the plate.
McElroy, the left-hander, continues to throw in the bullpen. The middle of the Cub order right there, 74 RBIs all the way up and down the line. Andre started to go, but he checked. So the count is all the way out to 3-2 on Dawson. Andre, 250, 19 homers. Grace, 315. Boy, he's been the model of consistency. And Sandberg, the second half, has been red hot. So the count holding at 3-2 with a foul ball.
Andre showed some signs the last few days that he might be breaking out of it. And as far as the Cubs are concerned, they're hoping that he can get red hot these last 10 games. He's a streak hitter. He hits his home runs in bunches. And the Cubs could use a few against the Pirates.
Another foul ball. Dawson can smell a couple extra RBIs in this situation. 3-2 count on him. O'Neill to try it again. Dawson with a tap. O'Neill, long throw in time, and that retires the side. The Cubs scored 3, leave a couple, and at the end of 5, the Cubs are up 9-0. On to the 6th inning with Steve Stone, Artie Harris, Harry Carey. This is Dwayne Stats. 9-0. The Cubs are out in front. In from Mississippi, rooting for the Cubs. Lenny Dykstra rolls it to Dunston. 1 pitch, 1 out. Dunston to Grace. And Mary Myers celebrating her 70th birthday. We wish her all the best. Dwight Smith has taken over in right field for the Cubs. Andre Dawson will get the rest of the afternoon off. Tom Herr is the hitter for the Phillies.
After the first 2 innings of this ball game, the Cubs had only 4 1-2-3 innings in the 29 on this homestand, but Maddox has made it look easy since the 2nd.
He starts Herr with a strike. And Maddox has now retired 11 in a row. He walked Dalton with 2 outs in the 2nd. Given up nothing since. There's a ball. Padres keep their hopes alive in the West. They have beaten the Reds at Cincinnati 11-7. They had scored 6 in the first, only to see the Reds come back with 5 in their first. 2 balls and a strike. Jack Clark hit a home run, his 25th, and Darren Jackson hit one for the Padres, his 4th. Eric Davis hit number 33 for Cincinnati. Pat Clements the winner. John Franco the losing pitcher in that game. A 4-run 9th for San Diego. 3-1 the count on Herr.
San Diego's putting together a great stretch run, but they can't seem to close any ground on San Francisco, who's doing just about everything you have to do to stay afloat.
A great come from behind win for the Giants last night. There's ball 4. Only the second walk given up by Maddox. 11 in a row between bases on balls to Dalton and Herr.
That's going to be it for Tommy Herr. Tom Barrett coming in to pinch run, and he'll also go in at second base.
And John Kruk is the hitter. So Tommy Barrett is the runner. 1 on, 1 out. Kruk 0 for 2. Kruk started to go. Tried to check. A strike to count, or is it a ball? Nope, it's a ball. Fred Brocklander says he held up. 1-0 the count on Kruk. Maddox has struck out a pair, walked 2, and allowed 3 hits. Misses wide. 2-0 to count on Kruk. At the moment, San Diego's 4.5 out in the west. Off Salazar's glove. Everybody's going to be safe. That's an error charge to Salazar. Barrett moves into second. The 9th error of the year charged to Luis Salazar.
Looks like he's going to turn this into 2, and then the ball just hits off his glove. Pretty tough error to pick up, but he gets charged with the error anyway.
2 men on with 1 out for Ricky Jordan. San Francisco in the West 88 and 64. San Diego 4.5 back following the victory, 84 and 69. Ramon Martinez will pitch for the Dodgers tonight against Kelly Downs at Candlestick. Jordan chops it to third, toward the line, foul. Strike 1. New York and St. Louis again tonight. That'll be Sid Fernandez against Ricky Horton. And here the Cubs have built a 9-0 lead as we play in the top of the 6th.
You look at one of the men in the deal that helped Philadelphia. Chris James going to San Diego. John Kruk, Randy Reddy coming here. San Diego also wanted Tommy Barrett in that to make their lineup. Gwynn and Barrett hitting back-to-back.
Where's the fire hydrant?
But they didn't get him.
Broken bat. Dunston gets the force at second. Kruk is out there. Barrett goes to third. So Jordan reaches on a fielder's choice, 6-4. There you are, Mr. Stone.
And you've got a picture of it to take on the road. Just think of that.
That's right. I might have that framed, matted, and give it to you as a gift for the offseason, just as a little remembrance.
I'll put it up, and when Arnie comes down for spring training, we'll break it out.
Von Hayes, the hitter. Hayes 1 out of 2. Single in the second. Strike on that corner. Hayes was called out on strikes in the 4th inning on a pitch at the knees on the inside corner.
That was
Maddox
the same
went
pitch.
there to start him here in the 6th.
Same exact pitch, so he should be familiar with the strike zone of Bob Engel.
Two strikes with that foul ball. The RBI breakdown for the Cubs. DeCenzo has 1. Sandberg a couple. Grace a couple. Dawson has 3. Rick Rona has 1. A ball, 2 strikes to count.
Rick Sutcliffe has a tender shoulder as he comes out of yesterday's game a little tender. He had some work done on it before the game, so we'll have to see how that works out.
2-2 and a dog bite as well.
Dog bite on the left arm, fortunately. I think he's more concerned at this point about that sore right shoulder.
2-2
Plagued him
the
on
count.
and off this year.
It's interesting to hear him describe that. He says it's as much. There's ball 3. As much a weakness in the shoulder as a soreness. He said he's not so sure that it's actually hurting him. He's just not able to get the kind of strength that he's normally associated having with that shoulder. And Hayes is out on strikes on the change to retire the side. No runs, a walk, an error, 2 left. Bottom of the 6th coming. 9-0 Cubs. Bottom of the 6th inning from Wrigley Field. Kurt Ford is the new center fielder. And Tommy Barrett stays in the game to play second base for the Phillies. Lloyd McClendon will open the bottom of the 6th against O'Neill, and the pitch is a strike. Cubs are out in front, 9-0. McClendon, then Salazar, followed by Dunston. The pitch is a strike. 0-2 the count. 6 runs off Mulholland in 4 innings. One ball, 2 strikes. Two. Again in Cincinnati, San Diego has beaten the Reds 11-7. A shot to center field. Ford will run it down. It skips by him. Back to the track. McClendon on his way to second, on his way to third now, and the throw is going to get him. McClendon out. Dickie Thon's throw to Hayes got him. So McClendon cut down trying to go to third. That's a double for McClendon. He is out 8-6-5 for the first out.
Good relay throw by Kurt Ford when he finally rights himself. And in a close game, this is probably a bad gamble, but here, not too bad as Dickie Thon makes a good throw, picked up, and Charlie Hayes does the honors.
Salazar takes a strike. There's Ken Howell. He will pitch tomorrow against the Cardinals against Joe McGrain. A foul ball out of play. So the Cubs certainly wish Ken Howell and that big slider well tomorrow.
All the best, Ken. Give you an idea about pen and pressure in this Cub ball club. Before the game, Lloyd McClendon and Sean Dunston talking a little bit, jawing back and forth.
A popper that's going to carry out a play.
Kind of a funny situation with McClendon saying, look, you never call me anymore. He said, Dunston said, yeah, look, I help you move. You don't want to talk to me. He said, you called me when you were hitting 150, he was saying to Dunston. Now you're hitting 280. You never call me. I call you. You're always busy. So they're not feeling too much pressure down there. They had a good time before the ball game with Zim.
A ball, 2 strikes.
Zim was saying that Sean got a watch for doing something and wanted to sell it to Zim. Wouldn't even give it to him, asking Andre what he thought it was worth. Zim said, I don't think I want to buy it.
A tap. That's a foul ball. Well, the makeup of this Cub club has been amazing all year. Right from the spring when the club had trouble scoring runs, getting people out. They got off to a good start, and that perhaps was as much a key as anything. The Cubs opened the regular season and played well. Thon to Jordan, 2 outs in the 6th. And they've stayed on a pretty even keel through what has been more or less a streaky season. A couple times this year they've gotten to 21 games over 500. And as soon as they did, then they sputtered a little bit. The Cubs this last time hit 21 over Since then, they've dropped 4 out of 5. Shot up there, hitting 280 on the shot-o-meter. Strike one.
Zim didn't like what he saw the pitching staff the last few days, and he had a closed-door meeting with the staff, letting his pitchers know exactly what he was thinking about. That's one thing he's done all year. He doesn't wait a great deal of time if he has something to say. He lets them know about it. And Maddox has come out roaring today.
Dunston dropping this one into right center in front of Hayes for a base hit. Sean picking up his second hit of the day. Dunston 2 out of 3, up to 282 on the shot-o-meter.
And now for sure he's not going to call Lloyd McClendon. That batting average starting to zoom.
There we see the son of shot-o-meter. That's the cap version, 282. You have to expand. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. There's the big mobile version, and then there's the cap version. Rona swings and misses. Strike one. Next, we'll have those like pocket schedule versions of the shot-o-meter. You can carry with you in your wallet. The Cubs have 15 hits today.
Chuck McElroy up and throwing one more time.
Foul ball. McElroy is probably wondering how many more hits do the Cubs have to get for me to get into this game anyway. There he is. He's keeping in good shape, throwing in the bullpen. Two strikes the count.
The Spike Lee lookalike contest.
Rona out on strikes on a pitch in the dirt, and the flip to first to retire the side. That's a strikeout. No runs, a couple hits. Man left. We're through 6. Harry will be back in a moment. The Cubs are out in front 9-0.
Cubs baseball is brought to you in part by your Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana Better Buick dealers.
Hello again, everybody. With Steve Stone and Dwayne Stats, Harry Carey back at Wrigley Field. Here's the first pitch hit down the third base line by Dickie Thon. Thon doubles to left.
17th double of the year for Thon, and a high tight fastball. Looked like it was out of the strike zone, but he drilled it by Salazar.
That's the first hit since the second inning for Philadelphia. At one time, Maddox had retired 11 men in a row. Here now is Charlie Hayes, the third baseman. There's a strike call. Well, the Cubs after today play 3 games at home, starting tomorrow afternoon against Pittsburgh, and then 3 at Montreal, 3 at St. Louis. The Mets play 1 tonight at St. Louis. They play 3 at Pittsburgh on the road. The other 6 are at home, 3 against Montreal, 3 against Philadelphia. The Cardinals play the Mets tonight, and they have only 1 series on the road. They play 3 at Pittsburgh. They entertain the Phillies for 3 starting tomorrow night, and the final 3 games of the season against the Cubs in St. Louis. He struck him out, swinging. Four strikeouts.
Phillies have been pretty tough on the Cardinals this year. They've played 15 times, with the Cardinals holding a slim 8-7 lead, so they haven't been pushovers for them.
1 on, 1 on. Maddox going for his second shutout of the year. You shut out this club, you're doing something. There's a drive foul. Darren Dalton walked his first time, bounced out the next time, had 5 out of 5 yesterday, a handsome young man. had a lot of leg problems. Apparently has overcome all. The pitch is inside. About 25,000 here, I guess. The pitch is outside. They're here from St. Patrick's High School. They had a walkathon. They're all sitting down in the right field corner. He fouls it back.
Maddox has been able to control the inside corner to hitters on both sides of the plate today, and that's been his best attribute. He's been around the plate with most everything. He's walked just 2 men. In a lot of trouble in the second inning, but got out of it with a double play ground ball off the bat of Charlie Hayes.
2 balls, 2 strikes. 9-0 Chicago. Ooh, just barely missed. And the count is 3-2. We'll have a pinch hitter coming up next.
Looks like Dwayne Murphy.
That's who it is. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Fouled into the stands down the third base line. The crowd quiet. Not much to get excited about. Everything is copacetic today. Everybody feels good, is relaxed, is confident. And in Wisconsin, they're going nuts. He struck him out. Strikeout number 5 for Maddox.
Throws a good straight change, and Maddox has done a little of that, retiring Von Hayes on the straight change, so he's broken it out late in the game. Dwayne Murphy now comes on to pinch hit, 9 from 42 with a couple of home runs and 8 RBIs as a pinch hitter.
Murphy, who for years starred for the Oakland A's. 2 out. Maddox going for his 7th complete game and his 2nd shutout. There's a strike call. 1 strike to nothing.
Murphy won 6 Gold Gloves in the American League with Oakland. He came up with a great outfield of Ricky Henderson, Tony Armas, and Dwayne Murphy in center field. They could hit, and all of them could play defense.
Murphy, 9 out of 42 as a pinch hitter. Takes the pitch inside. He's hitting .221 all told.
3 runs, they were earned. 1 strikeout, 1 wild pitch. Repeat, 2 innings, 7 hits, 3 runs, they were earned. 1 strikeout, 1 wild pitch.
A ball and a strike. There's a strike again. A beauty, and Murphy shakes his head. One ball, 2 strikes. Don playing it safe at second. A little bit inside, ball 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Maddox has had 3 strikeouts in the last 2 innings, 2 this one. The bullpen hasn't had a thing to do today.
And they're pretty happy about it. They've had a lot of work lately.
2-2 pitch. High pop foul.
This win today would match the season total of Maddox last year, only done completely the opposite way. Maddox 15-3 at the All-Star break last year, had a tough second half. This year he's struggled most of the first half and has come alive in the second half.
2 balls, 2 strikes. He struck him out to retire the side. And so we go to the bottom of the 7th. The Cubs lead 9-0. We go into the bottom of the 7th, 9-0 in favor of the Cubs. And here's Maddox, who's 1 out of 2 leading off.
Chuck McElroy on the mound, a hard-throwing left-hander. McElroy, 6 feet tall, 160 pounds, out of Galveston, Texas.
There's a hit. Maddox, his 2nd hit in a row. He's 2 out of 3. Or make that 2 out of 4 today. He now is 17 hits and 78 times at bat for a .218 batting average. Not bad at all for a pitcher. Here's DeCenzo. And I can't help but observe, they all talk about age and experience. Look who's carried the Cubs today. The kids. Rona, DeCenzo, Sandberg, Grace, Dunston, and then Dawson with a big mopper. There's a ground ball, might be a double play. Out at second and out at first. DeCenzo hit into a round the horn double play. Hayes to Barrett to Jordan.
Pretty good pivot at second base by Tommy Barrett. You've got to get rid of the ball quickly to cut down DeCenzo. And they do just that. So let's watch Charlie Hayes, who's made 22 errors, including 1 today, and he makes a perfect throw to Barrett.
Here's Sandberg. 2 out of 3, 2 runs batted in. You know, there's a triple tie now on the Cubs. A triple tie for most RBI. There's a high fly ball should be caught. And it is. At the end of 7, the Cubs lead 9-0. Kurt Ford will lead it off here in the 8th inning. Ford, who replaced Dykstra. Dykstra was 0 for 3 today. One ball, 1 strike. We're in the 8th. Maddox with 6 strikeouts. 4 in the last 2 innings. 2 balls and the strike. That evens the count 2-2. The Cincinnati Reds were beaten by San Diego again today. San Diego 11, the Reds 7. What's that, about 24 out of 29?
24 to 30. They've been unbelievable in this stretch drive. They might have started a little too late because San Francisco doesn't seem like they want to give it up.
They've had a, here's the pitch. There's a bouncing ball up the middle. Ford singles to center. I tell you, this past week, if the Giants were going to cough it up, this is the week they would have done it. Because San Diego putting unrelenting pressure. And several times, 3 or 4 times, the Giants were seemingly beaten only to rally in the bottom of the 9th inning and win it.
They've got to get that deficit down to 3 because San Francisco ends the season in San Diego for 3.
Isn't it funny that the Cubs will end the season in St. Louis for 3? There's a ground ball. Oh, nice recovery by, it's going to be a hit. A base hit by Tommy Barrett. Dunston started a break to cover second. Barrett aimed the ball right through short. Dunston made a great recovery, got his glove on the ball and fielded it, but Barrett too fast to throw out.
This would have been 2, but they weren't holding Ford close at first, and he decided to take off, so Dunston had to cover. Otherwise, that's a straightaway shortstop. It's an easy double play. Instead, it turns into a base hit, and Maddox has a couple of base runners, but he still has a big lead.
Is John Kruk nothing out of 3? Pitch is high. Maddox's second shutout of the year in jeopardy. But he has a very great lead.
Rona going out there to tell him, don't rush through this. You still got 6 outs to go, so just relax, throw some strikes, and we'll get out of it.
1 ball, no strikes. He had a good rip but miss.
Another good straight change by Maddox, who has used that effectively the last 3 or 4 innings.
He had a cut again. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Truck 0 for 3. Had 2 out of 5 yesterday. There's a high fly ball, will be caught. DeCenzo, he's there. Fires the ball back in, but the runner forward advances from second to third after the catch.
All day long, Maddox has thrown tight fastballs to Ricky Jordan, and all day long he's kept him in the infield by jamming him. Let's see if he goes in there one more time. Jordan doesn't seem to be able to handle that good fastball right on his hands, but not too many people can.
Jordan with 0 for 3 today. Infield back. There's a drive. Might drive in the first round, it will. A sacrifice fly. Jordan lines to DeCenzo. And that takes care of the shutout. Cubs now leading 9-1.
RBI number 71. He goes with the slider, gets it out over the plate, and Jordan hits it right on the button. But DeCenzo right there. So the Cubs gladly trade the run for the out.
Here's Hayes, 1 out of 3. Has fanned twice against Maddox. The magic number will be 7 after this game. The Cubs will have only 9 games remaining after today. 3 at home starting tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Sunday being Fan Appreciation Day. There are the schedules of the Cubs and the Cardinals. The Cubs end the season in St. Louis for 3. After finishing with the Pirates here in the weekend series, the Cubs go to Montreal for 3 and then St. Louis to wrap it up for 3. There's a high drive, will be caught. Dwight Smith making the catch to retire the side. 1 run, 2 hits. We go in the bottom of the 8th. The Cubs lead 9-1.
Later tonight on Channel 9, it's cross-country excitement when Kirk Douglas and John Schneider star in Eddie Macon's Run tonight at 7 on Chicago's very own Channel 9.
McElroy faces Mark Grace, who's 2 out of 4 today. You look pretty good there.
Well,
Did
thanks.
you draw that picture?
No, I didn't.
There's the pitch low. 1 ball, 1 strike. McElroy. Only 21 years old. There's the pitch a little low. Out of Galveston, Texas.
Pretty exciting for a youngster to get a shot at the major leagues at this tender age, and he's got a 2.45 ERA to this point.
Rays and Port Arthur. Texas was a quarterback in football. 3 balls and the strike. All 4, he walked them. Grays has been on base 3 times. 2 hits, 2 runs batted in, 1 run scored, and now he walks. Here's Dwight Smith. You know, the Cubs have a 3-way tie for the runs batted in leadership. Sandberg, Grace, and Dawson have all batted in 74 runs. 74 runs each. Dwight Smith hitting .307. 9 homers, 48 RBI. Grace the runner at first. There's a line drive, center field. Another base hit for Dwight Smith.
We can tell you now that this copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Chicago National League Ball Club, which has a right of approval of the announcers and is intended solely for the private non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Chicago National League Ball Club is prohibited.
Here's McClendon. He's 2 out of 4. Lets a high pop foul. Might be playable into the stand. Strike 1. Boy, the Cubs batting orders really produced today. The first 6 men, the first 5 men each have had 2 hits. 10 of their 17. One ball, 1 strike. Runners on at first and second.
With the win today, the Cubs will have a winning record against everybody in their division.
And the only team, as I mentioned before, in the National League that they don't have a winning record, or at least a .500 record again, is Houston, which beat them 7 out of the 12. There's a drive way back. Yeah, he makes the catch. Von Hayes. And Grace tags up and goes to third after the catch. That ball was well hit.
Right into the wind, which is blowing about 15 miles an hour against that drive. Otherwise, it's out of the park. So McClendon continues to hit left-handers well.
Here's the only man in the batting order without a hit. Salazar, 0 for 4. Comes up with 1 out, runners at first and third. There's a strike call over the inside corner.
If the Cubs do go on to win this division and San Francisco wins theirs, it's going to be some playoff, because both teams 3-3 in their respective parks, 6-6 for the year.
Well, here's an oddity. 1 man in the lineup hasn't hit Salazar. Everybody else has had 2 hits, with the exception of Dwight Smith, who's only batted once, and he has 1 hit. Strike is called on Salazar. And he's arguing with Bob Engel, the plate umpire. He thought it was way inside. Flattery, Luis, will get you nowhere. That brings up Dunston.
Luis thought it was low and in. Bob Engel said it was good enough. It looks way low and in, but 9-1, 8th inning. I guess a little bigger strike zone.
Well, they got an early plane to catch also. So Salazar winds up with 0 for 5. Slice to foul back. That is an oddity, isn't it? Only 1 man that goes hitless. Everybody else in the batting order each gets 2 hits, with the exception of Dwight Smith, who only batted once and has 1 hit. 0-2 the count on Dunston, who is 2 out of 3 at the moment. His batting average, the Shardometer shows him at 282. A little bit inside. The Cubs had 18 hits yesterday, losing 9-8. They have 17 hits today. They're winning 9-1. Fouls it off. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The Cubs will go over the 1,400,000 mark tomorrow. 2 million rather. 2,400,000 mark tomorrow. There's a foul ball again. And if they draw, well, no, they got about 117,000 required in the 3 remaining dates starting tomorrow in order to go over the 2,500,000 mark. Inside, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Well, they're going to have a banner year at the gate, establishing a new all-time attendance record for Chicago. Two-two pitch. Just barely fouled it off. Here it is, 9-1. Not a soul has left the ballpark.
They'll want to get on their feet for the last out.
Doug Drabeck will pitch for the Pirates tomorrow. He struck him out to end the inning. So, at the end of 8 innings, the Cubs lead 9-1. Harry Carey at the ballpark. We're going to the top of the 9th. Cubs leading 9-1. The magic number will become 7. Dickie Thon leading it off. A ball and a strike. Bouncing ball. Nice play by Salazar. He is out on a fine play. Boy, he charged that high hopper. He fielded it on the tough hop and threw Thon out.
Fine play by Mark Grace. You got to be aggressive on this ball because you can't let it hop one more time. And Salazar, a do-or-die pickup, throws it off the mark, but Grace comes across, has the bag, makes the tag just in case.
1 man out. Here's Charlie Hayes. A high drive. That'll be easy. Doug DeCenzo. 2 gone. And now the fans can do what they came here for. Everybody rises to their feet.
And Don Zimmer is going to get just exactly what he wanted from Maddox. 9 innings, no bullpen, and not a whole lot of worry in this one.
Mitch Williams is getting a workout anyway in the bullpen. Dalton, a hitter. 5 out of 5 yesterday, 0 for 2 today. Believe it is right. Cubs win! Cubs win! Cubs win! The magic number is 7. And before the night is over, it could get down to 6. Here are the standings as of right now. With only 9 games left, the Cubs lead by 3.5 over the Cardinals, by 6 over the New York Mets. And this was almost, well, this was a no-brainer. I wonder, Zim ought to give them back their money for today's pay because he didn't have to do much. He picked out a guy, he pitched 9 innings, he fielded a lineup, everybody got 2 hits, and he win easily by the score of 9-1.
Not many laughers lately, so this one is certainly welcome as far as the Cubs are concerned. Plenty of offense and airtight pitching by Maddox. And there's the magic number.
Listen, there's the 7 going up. The magic number. And maybe before the day is over, the 6 will go up, because the Mets play at St. Louis tonight. All right, we'll be back with the totals now in a moment. Here's the Budweiser play of the day. Andre Dawson, a tremendous home run over the left field wall. He sent this airmail special, and the postman across the street on Waveland Avenue gets the souvenir. That's the Budweiser play of the game. There he is. So, a very easy day for everybody. Greg Maddux wins number 18. Everybody in the lineup got 2 hits. What can you say? They scored 9 runs. Yesterday they had 18 hits, scored 8 runs and lost. Today they have 17 hits, score 9 runs and win.
A red-hot ball club is coming in, and the bullpen needed a day of rest, and Greg Maddux did just that, going the distance on a 6-hitter. The 18-12 overture never sounded so good, and that's Maddox's record at this point. And Harry, the offense in this series was spectacular, and they got some good pitching.
Well, we got a tough cookie to face tomorrow in Doug Drabick. I think he's won 7, lost 2 during his career. We all know how good he is. The Cubs were never hitting the ball any harder than they've been lately. Let's see what happens tomorrow.
It's going to be Mike Bilecki tomorrow. Then it's going to be Paul Kilgus and Steve Wilson to round out the series. So, Harry, I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, I'll be back with the totals now in a moment. The totals, by the way, first of all, I think it's an oddity. Every man in the lineup got 2 hits, with the exception of Salazar, who was hitless, and Dwight Smith only batted once and had a hit. That's how well distributed was the Cubs hitting. Here are the totals. For the victorious Cubs, whose magic number now is down to 7, 9 runs, 17 hits, 1 error. The winning pitcher, Greg Maddux, he now has won 18 and lost 12. And I can see his parents watching the game in Las Vegas, Nevada, their home, dancing in glee. Maybe they're not dancing in the streets yet, but they will be later on. For the Phillies, 1 run, 6 hits, 1 error. The loser, Terry Mulholland. He now has won 4 and lost 7. Well, that's it. A big day here for the Cubs. Only 3 games remain at home, starting tomorrow over the weekend, and then the last 6 on the road. Maybe we ought to start a pool. What will be the day that the Cubs clinch the National League Eastern Division title? An interesting thought. All right, speaking now for Steve Stone and Dwayne Stats, this is Harry Carey from Wrigley Field, where the Cubs pounded the Phillies into submission and winning the year's head-to-head play 10-8 by beating them by the score of 9-1. See you later. So long, everybody. Steve will have the 10th inning in a moment. Our next televised game on Channel 9 will be between the Cubs and the Pirates tomorrow afternoon. Our telecast beginning with the leadoff man at 1 o'clock Chicago time. Our executive producer director has been Arnie Harris. Our assistant director, Joe Corneo. The final score, the Cubs 9, the Phillies 1. Harry Carey from Wrigley Field. So long, everybody.
promotional fee has been paid to WGN by United Airlines, the official airline of the Chicago Cubs. Come fly the friendly skies.
Cubs baseball was brought to you in part by Bud Light. Everything else is just a light. True Value Hardware, your store of first choice. Canon, the official camera of the Chicago Cubs. Unical 76, who invite you to go with the spirit of 76. The Chicago Tribune, where you'll always get the freshest sports. And Nissan, built for the human race.